function.
We're going to go through lesson 12-2, and we're going to be talking about patterns and function rules today. We talked about patterns a lot in lesson 12.1. Today we're going to talk more about the rules that give you the pattern. Okay? That's what a function rule is. A function rule, write this down. A function is, first of all, it's just the relationship between two numbers. Okay? It's like an equation. Or, I'm sorry, it's more like an expression. It is, a function is, like, an example of a function is 3 times n. 3 times n. So whatever n is, if you put it into this expression, you get an answer. Okay? And then, if n is 1, the result of the function is 3. If n is 2, the result of the function is 6. So it's kind of like a rule. It's kind of like putting it into a machine that gives you an answer. An input and an output. Okay? Yeah, a printer, that would be a pretty good, except that a printer gives you exactly what you put in. If you change it a little bit, after you put it in, then that is the function. Okay? The output and the input together is a function. So, notice that I have written this as a chart, and this is the easiest way, I think, to read a function, is to have the two sides next to each other so you can read it across. But you might see functions written this way also. Look at your example here. And worksheet 12.2, it gives you an example, W and T. And when W is 30, T is 6. When W is 35, T is 5.
No, it's 7.
Oh, 7, sorry. I gave you the function rule, didn't I?
Cheater, I know the function rule.
How could we write a function rule using this? From W to T is W divided by 5. So the function rule
It's 5.
is W divided by 5 equals T.
What do you mean T minus?
Okay?
No.
W and T, if we wrote it out this way, it would look like this. 36, 35, 7, and so on. Okay? Now, in your assignment, you're going to look at patterns like this, either written this way, going across. Sometimes they will be written with a box around them like this. Sometimes they'll just have a line in between the numbers. Okay? Most of the time, they'll also be assigned a variable, a letter. And then you're going to write out the rule based on the chart. Let's do number 1 together. W and V. And it's written out this way. 1, 7, 2, 14, 3, 21. So what is happening to get from W to V? Using the variables in your function rule. Lily? So multiply what by 7?
W times 7.
Good. W times 7 equals V. W times 7 equals V. Or you could write it this way. 7W equals V. How couldn't you write this? What should you not use for times when you're writing this function rule? Emily? An X, right. Don't write W times 7 equals V. Why not?
Oh, because
Class. Noah?
because they might think the X is a variable.
Right. This looks like the variable X, not the time symbol. So you should either use a dot for times,
Or
you could use parentheses for times, or you could put a letter and a variable together, and that also means times. Not a letter and a variable, a number and a variable.
There you go.
Okay, let's do one more together. Number 3. Number 3 gives you an example of how functions are used. Hours worked
21.
and money earned, right? How much did they earn in the first hour? Trinity?
$6.25.
In the second hour? Reese?
$12.50.
And so on, right? So, they give us some variables. Actually, this is just H, and this is, they want us to use M for money earned. Okay? Asa? Pay attention here. Now, how could we get from the hours worked to the money earned? Or what is the function rule? Laura? Multiply what by $6.25? H for hours. So H times $6.25
Yeah, it would be plus.
plus well, that's part of the pattern to get on this row. But to write it as a function, we have to consider these numbers also.
Yeah.
And for every hour, you earn $6.25. So $6.25 is being added repeatedly, but that operation is multiplication. Whenever you're adding something, the same number over and over and over again, that's being multiplied.
But it wouldn't be multiplied by 6.
Yep, the number of hours. So 2 hours times 625 equals 1250. And 3 hours times 625
875.
equals
1875.
1875. And so on. And this is what you're looking for. This is the H. We're going to use H for hours times 625. And that equals the M, money earned. So this is your answer. This is the function rule, it's called. So when it says to write a function rule, it's asking for this. Okay, it's an equation that relates the two variables. Okay? So that's your assignment for tomorrow, is to look at these charts. Look at, either it's written going across, like this, or it's written going up and down. And you need to ask yourself, how do you get from the first letter to the second letter? How do you get from 1 to 625, 2 to 1250, 3 to 1875, and then write it using the letters and the pattern. Okay?
So do we do only odd numbers?